Very good morning, students. Today, let us continue our discussion based on capacitors. Already, we discussed the effect of dielectric on the capacitors of a parallel plate capacitor. In connection to that, today, let us learn about a new vector called displacement vector. Displacement vector for a dielectric displacement vector for a dielectric. In order to understand this concept, let us recapitulate our earlier idea. Here is a parallel plate capacitor. This capacitor is provided with a dielectric slab. That means the space between the two plates of the capacitor is completely filled with a dielectric slab like this. This plate of the capacitor is given plus Q. Obviously minus Q is developed over here in the absence of this dielectric. In the presence of dielectric, what will happen? Polarization takes place. Polarization means the dipoles available inside the dielectric, they will align into the proper order. Actually, due to the presence of positive charge and negative charge on the plates, there exists a field, electric field. Let it be E naught. E naught is the applied electric field. In the presence of this electric field, all the dipoles inside this, they are orienting themselves like this: negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, like this. So similarly, everywhere you will get negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, like this you will get. Whatever dipoles which are randomly oriented, in the presence of this field, they are oriented like this. Due to this orientation, what will happen? Due to this orientation, this positive and negative, this set of positive and negative neutralizes themselves. Similarly, this set of positive and negative neutralizes themselves. This positive and negative neutralizes each other. Finally, you are left with a induced charge here. Nearer to the positive plate, you are getting negative charge. Nearer the negative charge, you are getting positive charge. So we have an induced charge minus Q here, the similar amount of positive charge plus Q here. This charge is called free charge. This charge is called free charge. This charge is called bound charge. Bound charge. Or induced charge. Induced charge. Similarly, if A is the area of each plate, so the surface charge density of this plate is given by plus sigma. The surface charge density of this plate is given by minus sigma. You know that surface charge density is defined as charge residing per unit area. So here, actually, Q is the charge residing. You should write Q by A as sigma. Similarly, the induced charge or the bound charge developed is small q. So, induced surface charge density, that means we are representing it as, due to the polarization it is happening, hence we are representing with sigma p. Sigma p is named as induced charge density. Induced charge density is given by small q by A. On the same area, we are getting negative charge here. Therefore, we will have negative charge density minus sigma p here, positive charge density plus sigma p here. You know that there exists a dipole moment here. The dipole moment is defined as charge into separation. If L is the separation between the two plates, L or D, anything you can take. Let me take L here. Then the dipole moment can be calculated as, here two equal and opposite charges are there separated by certain distance. Then the dipole moment is defined as charge into separation. If I calculate the dipole moment here, the dipole moment is given by Q into L. But I need dipole moment per unit volume. What I need? Dipole moment per unit volume. V stands for volume. V stands for volume. I need dipole moment by volume. I need dipole moment by volume. Volume means area into separation. Area of each plate is A, therefore dielectric is also having, because dielectric is completely filling the entire space, Q into L by A into L. L gets cancelled. Q by A you will be left with. What is Q by A? Sigma P. Q by A is called sigma P. Actually, dipole moment is directed from negative charge to positive charge. So, dipole moment will be in the same direction. If you represent it as a vector, the magnitude of dipole moment is Q into L, and the volume is given by A into L. L and L gets cancelled. So, you got sigma P. Sigma P means induced surface charge density. So, the dipole moment per unit volume is called polarization density or polarization vector. Therefore, polarization density or polarization vector. If you want, it is numerically equal to whom? Sigma P. If you want to represent it as a vector, sigma P into n cap. What is n cap? Unit vector in this direction. Because dipole moment also directed from negative charge to positive charge. So, sigma P into n cap will give polarization vector whose magnitude is polarization density. Magnitude of polarization vector itself is polarization density, which is defined as dipole moment per unit volume. Which is defined as dipole moment per unit volume. You can write it as polarization vector as P bar. This is nothing but mod P bar. Mod P bar is called polarization density, which is numerically equal to induced surface charge density. This is the first point you should understand. The second point, what you have to understand here is, what is the value of this E naught? E naught is applied electric field. Electric field in the vicinity of a charged conductor is given by sigma by epsilon naught. Sigma by epsilon naught. Here you will get a new field in the opposite direction to the applied field. Field is directed from positive to negative. The new field is called induced field, EI. In some books they are representing it as EP. Due to the polarization, the electric field is generated. So, EP is given by polarization field or induced electric field is given by this polarization surface charge density by epsilon naught. Instead of sigma, we have to take sigma P here. So, this field is given by sigma P by epsilon naught. What is net field? E net. Net field means applied electric field minus polarization field. In vector form, if you want to write ORR, net field E net bar or E bar, ORR E bar is equal to external field plus polarization field in the form of vector. In the form of magnitude, if you want to write, applied field is in this direction, induced field is in this direction. So net field is given by E naught minus EP. In net field, I am representing it as E or E naught, sorry, E net. E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught minus sigma P by epsilon naught. You know that sigma is equal to Q by A. So E can be written as Q by A epsilon naught minus small q by A epsilon naught. If you bring that or you can write it as E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. What is sigma P? Sigma P is nothing but modulus of P bar. You can write it as P. Modulus of P bar is nothing but P. So P by epsilon naught. P by epsilon naught. You bring it this side. E plus P by epsilon naught is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. If you multiply with epsilon naught on both sides, otherwise bring this epsilon naught this side. E epsilon naught plus P is equal to sigma. E epsilon naught plus P is equal to sigma. This E epsilon naught plus P is called, here E epsilon naught plus P is called displacement vector. Here E epsilon naught plus P is called displacement vector D. You can write it in vector form also. So here, what is displacement vector? Displacement vector is the sum of polarization vector plus electric field vector multiplied with epsilon naught. Electric field vector, electric field means net electric field. Net electric field, or it is also called reduced electric field, because actual electric field value is reduced by P, hence it is also called reduced electric field. So reduced electric field into epsilon naught plus P bar is called displacement vector. What is the use of this vector? We will come to see. First of all, you try to understand the entire concept. Now, we can, what is the use of this displacement vector? I will tell you. Let me erase here. So displacement vector D bar is equal to E bar epsilon naught plus P bar. If you take the value of this, you will get sigma P. Sorry, sigma. Sigma means Q by A. Sigma means Q by A. Magnitude of this. Magnitude of this is equal to sigma is equal to Q by A. Therefore, you can write dA is equal to Q, or in the integral form, it can be written like this: integral d bar dot dA bar is equal to Q, because d bar is a fixed value, you can keep d outside. Integral dA is A. So it is in the form of integral d bar dot dA bar is equal to Q, which is called Gauss law for dielectric, which is called Gauss law for dielectric, which is called Gauss law for dielectric. Otherwise, integral d bar can be written as E bar epsilon naught plus P bar into dA bar is equal to Q. In the absence of dielectric, P is equal to 0 or P bar is equal to 0 bar. So you can remove this, then epsilon naught into E bar dot dA bar is equal to Q, or integral E bar dot dA bar is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into Q. Nothing but Gauss law in electrostatics. Gauss law in electrostatics. The displacement vector helps us to identify the charge available by using this relation, and it also provides us Gauss law in dielectrics. The same Gauss law in dielectrics can be converted to Gauss law in electrostatics by keeping P bar as 0 bar. Nothing but if no dielectric is available, the same Gauss law in dielectric will be converted as Gauss law in electrostatics. Now let us go to extend our discussion related to the dielectrics. If you see, here is a parallel plate capacitor which is provided with a dielectric medium. What is dielectric medium? A medium with no free electrons. A medium with no free electrons. Like insulator. Like insulator means if you take rubber, wood, plastic, we will not find any free electrons. Such a medium is called, a medium with no free electrons is dielectric medium. This is the fundamental idea. Dielectric medium. What will happen if you keep this dielectric medium here? I told you that all the dipoles will align into a proper order. What do you mean by dipole? How many types of dielectric mediums are there? If you go to the fundamental idea here, this dielectric is made up of molecules. If you consider atom means there is a positive charged nucleus around which the negative charged electron is rotating. This positive charged nucleus is having its own center of mass here, and the negative charged moving electron also have center of mass here. So the positive charge center and negative charge center are coincident with one another. No dipole moment is observed. No dipole moment is observed in case of atom. But dielectrics are made up of molecules. Molecules of dielectric. They will be classified into two categories. One is polar molecules, second one is non-polar molecules. Polar molecule means, for example, if you take water means H2O. Here, the positive charged center and negative charged center, they are not coincident with one another. They are separated by certain distance. So, when positive charged center and negative charged center are separated by certain distance, such a formation is called dipole. So, the molecule like water is behaving as a polar molecule. There are certain molecules which are non-polar, like carbon dioxide. In carbon dioxide, oxygen, carbon, again oxygen. Positive charged center and negative charged center are coincided with one another. Due to the symmetry, the positive charge center and negative charge center are coincided with one another. Here there is no coincidence of positive and negative charges. Such molecules are called polar molecules. Such carbon dioxide like molecules are called non-polar molecules. So the dielectrics are made with either polar molecules or non-polar molecules. Whatever it is, if you keep this molecule or molecular dielectric in presence of field, the external field makes the positive charged center and negative charged center. The positive charged center and the negative charged center separated by certain distance. That means dipole formation takes place, whether you keep the polar dielectric, whether you keep non-polar dielectric. That means if you keep positive charge plus Q here, minus Q here, obviously what will happen? Here you will get a negative charge with minus Q charge here. You will get positive charge here plus Q here. This is called induced charge, this is called free charge. What is the relationship between capital Q and small q? That is our discussion now. To know the relationship between capital Q and small q, let me take a Gaussian surface here. Let me take a Gaussian surface, a small Gaussian surface here. Actually here what is present? Here positive charge is presented, here negative charge is induced. And if I find the net electric flux passing through this Gaussian surface, how to calculate net electric flux passing through a Gaussian surface? We have to use Gauss theorem. What is Gauss theorem? Integral E bar dot ds bar is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed. Net charge enclosed. Here, what is the net charge enclosed? How to calculate? Its surface charge density is plus sigma. Its surface charge density is minus sigma P. Net surface charge density means sigma minus sigma P into area you considered is ds. Then this is nothing but dq. Charge available inside this smaller surface. Let its surface area is ds. Within this small surface, how much charge is available? Plus sigma charge density is there, minus sigma charge density is there. Net charge density is sigma minus sigma p into area will give the charge enclosed. So, how this formula takes place? As electric field is like this, E bar and ds bar are parallel to each other. EDS cos theta, cos 0 becomes 1. You can write it as E into integral ds is nothing but S. ES is equal to charge enclosed. How much you got? Charge enclosed. But this is the charge enclosed within the small surface. If you take the Gaussian surface like this, total charge enclosed is given by sigma minus sigma p into S. So if you substitute 1 by epsilon naught into sigma minus sigma p into S here, S gets cancelled, then E is given by 1 by epsilon naught capital Q by A minus small q by A. Then you already know that E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. You can write it as sigma by epsilon naught. Then sigma means q by A. You are left with q by A is equal to I hope you understood here. If I take the small Gaussian surface, the charge enclosed is given by this. If I take the big Gaussian surface, total charge enclosed is like this. Then integral ds becomes total surface area. E is equal to 1 by epsilon naught q by A minus this one. Here electric field is reduced electric field. We should not write like this. The reduced electric field is nothing but whenever we introduce a dielectric, electric field becomes applied electric field by K is equal to 1 by epsilon naught or 1 by A epsilon naught Q minus Q. You can write like this. E naught is sigma by epsilon naught. So sigma by K epsilon naught is equal to 1 by A epsilon naught into capital Q minus small q. Epsilon naught gets cancelled. Epsilon naught gets cancelled. Sigma can be written as Q by AK into Q minus Q by A. AA gets cancelled. Capital Q is equal to Q by K plus small q. Then you can write like this. We need the value of induced charge. So how to get induced charge? We need the value of small q. So this is capital Q. Q by K is equal to capital Q minus small q. Small q is equal to capital Q minus Q by K. It becomes Q is equal to capital Q into 1 minus 1 by K. Very important relationship. The induced charge and the applied charge, they are related by small q is equal to capital Q into 1 minus 1 by K. Similarly, one more important point we have to remember related to the dielectrics for solving problems. Here it is very simple. I applied Gauss law. Gauss law is applied for a Gaussian surface. If I take small Gaussian surface through the small area, the flux is going. If you want to calculate the flux, the charge available inside that small area is given by this formula. If you take the entire area into consideration, integral ds becomes s, and in the place of ds you can write s. Otherwise you take integral here, no problem. So you can substitute it here to get the relationship between small q and capital Q. Now in this connection, we relate the displacement vector here in our discussion. Let us see. We know that displacement vector is given by E epsilon naught plus P. Displacement vector is given by E epsilon naught plus P. Otherwise, if you take E epsilon naught, it can be written as sigma P, because polarization density is nothing but induced surface charge density. Then D is equal to E epsilon naught. This is nothing but small q by A. D is equal to E epsilon naught 1 by A into small q value capital Q into 1 minus 1 by K. D is equal to E epsilon naught Q by A minus Q by Ka. We know that E naught is equal to sigma by epsilon naught, or E naught is equal to capital Q by A epsilon naught. So capital Q by A can be replaced with E naught into epsilon naught. D can be written as E epsilon naught plus E naught into epsilon naught, E naught into epsilon naught by K. E epsilon naught, E naught into epsilon naught. E naught by K is reduced field. This and this gets cancelled. E is equal to E naught epsilon naught. E naught means electric field between the plates in the absence of dielectric. In the presence of dielectric, E value is given by E naught by K. So you can replace E naught with KE. KE epsilon naught. So the magnitude of displacement vector is the product of dielectric constant into reduced electric field or net electric field into epsilon naught. This formula is useful for solving so many problems related to NEET and IIT JEE. Try to remember these formulae. Derivation part, it is not necessary, but anyway, to make you understand the concept and how the formula has come, I derived all these. But at least you try to remember this formula. D is equal to epsilon naught KE. And one more relationship from this we can derive like this, very simple. One more relationship related to the dielectrics. Any problem related to dielectric is given means you may be asked to find induced charge. So induced charge can be found with the help of this formula. Or if you are asked to find the displacement vector, you can use this formula for finding displacement vector. Otherwise, you know that polarization vector is proportional to electric field. Polarization vector is proportional to electric field. Polarization vector is equal to some constant chi into net electric field. Constant chi into net electric field. But in order to keep this constant as dimensionless, we should multiply epsilon naught here. We should multiply epsilon naught to keep chi as dimensionless. To keep chi as dimensionless. Now, again, going back to the displacement vector formula, d bar is equal to epsilon naught E bar plus P bar. D bar is equal to epsilon naught E bar plus P bar. Then P bar is equal to d bar minus epsilon naught E bar. Now only calculated d value. What is d value? This formula also important for solving problems. K E epsilon naught minus E epsilon naught. K E epsilon naught minus E epsilon naught. So if you take common epsilon naught E, then you will get K minus 1. Already we mentioned that it is epsilon naught chi E. epsilon naught, E gets cancelled. So you are left with chi is equal to k minus 1. Then k is equal to 1 plus chi. Actually here chi is electric susceptibility. Here chi is called electric susceptibility. Chi is called electric susceptibility. So these formulae you should remember. The first formula is induced charge is equal to Q into 1 minus 1 by K. One more formula is electric displacement vector is defined as epsilon naught E plus P bar. Here P bar is polarization vector, E bar is net electric field. And the magnitude of displacement vector can be found K epsilon naught E. By using this formula we can do it. Whenever you want the magnitude of polarization vector, nothing but polarization density, you should take the product of electric field with the epsilon naught and chi E. Here chi E is a proportionality constant. That proportionality constant is called electric susceptibility. Electric susceptibility. Why we introduced E naught here? Here it is polarization density, means dipole moment per unit volume. Here it is electric field. To keep this chi E as a dimensionless constant, we should multiply with epsilon naught. As it is a constant, there is no problem in writing the equation like this. By substituting this value in displacement vector equation, we got one more relationship. The relationship between dielectric constant and electric susceptibility. Electric susceptibility means chi E. It is like this. You already know about dielectric constant. Dielectric constant is nothing but relative permittivity, a permittivity of the medium by permittivity of free space. About this point we discussed in the earlier lecture. I hope you understood the concept of displacement vector and what are the formulae related to the dielectric kept between the plates of a capacitor. Based on these formulae, we will do various problems. Let us go to discuss problems in the next section. Thank you.